Israel's invasion of Gaza has complicated relations among the main players in the Middle East.
A few years ago, some of the Arab states agreed to recognize Israel. Unthinkable, perhaps, even a decade ago. Hamas's invasion reminded the region the Palestinian issue remained unresolved.
And in the last of our three-part series on how October 7th changed the region, Stuart Smith reports on the Arab states' latest response to the Gaza war.
A declaration from this year's Arab summit lays out these countries' preferred course of action. First, a ceasefire, which they agree would have to be mediated at the level of the United Nations Security Council. Then, after a ceasefire, the League calls for the deployment of UN peacekeepers to Gaza. With peace established, members then call for recognition of Palestine as a state. The unanimously agreed declaration reaffirmed, like previous ones, the Arab position in support of Palestine, saying the Palestinian issue, quote, remains a central issue and the foundation upon which regional peace and stability can be achieved. It strongly condemned all illegal Israeli actions depriving Palestinians of their rights, including the right to an independent state, and blamed what leaders termed Israeli obstruction for failed negotiations on a ceasefire so far.
ووجدنا إسرائيل مستمرة في التهرب من مسؤولياتها والمراوغة حول الجهود المبذولة لوقف إطلاق النار بل والمضي قدما في عملياتها العسكرية المرفوضة في رفح فضلا عن محاولات استخدام معبر رفح من جانبه الفلسطيني لإحكام الحصار على القطاع.
Language criticizing Israel is not unusual in Arab League declarations, but observers noted that ultimately the League did not approve punitive steps against Israel, just as they failed to at another summit the Arab League leaders had with their counterparts from other Muslim nations last November. Today's Arab League is a different organization from the one that expelled Egypt, one of its founding members, in 1979 for signing a peace treaty with Israel. The Abraham Accords under the Trump administration saw even more Arab states, including Bahrain and the UAE, normalize relations with Israel. Supporters laud it as key to maintaining and strengthening regional peace and stability while working together on areas of mutual interest. But critics, on the other hand, say the pursuit of those mutual interests by the Arab states came at the cost of the rights of the Palestinians who continue to live under Israeli occupation. The Arab League's proposal for a peace conference is not new. Numerous efforts have been made to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian issue, like the 1993 Oslo Accords between the late Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. The Arab League's latest declaration calls the Palestine Liberation Organization that Arafat headed the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people, undermining the role Hamas carved for itself in the region and proposing a future without Hamas controlling Gaza. US efforts had wanted to encourage Arab states to independently deploy their own forces in a peacekeeping role outside the mandate of the United Nations, but countries like Saudi Arabia have rejected that idea for fear of being seen to align themselves with Israel's military operation. As Palestinian casualties continue to mount and public opinion turns against Israel, leaders of the 22 individual members of the Arab League will have to consider the Gaza war and make their own calibrations on how to conduct themselves with respect to Israel.
Next year's Arab Summit will be held here in Iraq. By then, members are hoping this conflict will be over and Palestine will be well on its way to becoming a state. Stuart Smith, CNA, Baghdad.